Now, the second lesson of the Declaration was that our founders didn't just, like Somali rebellions, pick up arms and revolt. They were very clear in specifying to King George III the problems, the motivations, the egregious offenses that were committed upon the colonies that warranted their opposition. So here today, drawing on that inspiration, drawing on that lesson, we lay out our opposition to this government and to this administration. We spell it out because they deserve to hear it, and we need to say it. Number one, this government has become too big. It has relied on Washington for too many things. It is acting in ways that are not consistent with the 10th Amendment of the Constitution and with the fundamental liberties. It is doing things that are not empowered to it by the Constitution of the United States. That needs to end. And let me tell you, it's not just acting in unconstitutional ways. The checks and balances that our democracy rests on are being eroded. How so? We have an administration that apparently doesn't consider the Constitution as it supports legislation. We have a Congress controlled by people of similar ideology that have a seeming distaste or a lack of concern for the ramifications of it. And now we even have courts that are dismissing suits that are brought because of a lack of standing. The question is, and the issue is, like our founding fathers, and like the challenges of liberty through the years, we need to bring back to this nation the accountability afforded us as Americans from our government under the Constitution. That's offense number one. Offense number two is whenever you see reckless spending, and our good friend from the Competitive Enterprise Institute just spelled it out very well. I don't need to go through all the lists of the outrageous, ridiculous, would be laughable if it weren't so sad types of spending that have been launched by this Congress. Whenever you see that, you also see the tax impulse of our politicians. This nation, the freest nation in the world, is having its freedom eroded because it is overtaxed. It is overtaxed. The earnings of the American people, especially in a recessionary climate like we are in, belong to the people. Bringing this country back economically is not about spending more money in Washington. It is about letting Americans keep more of what they earn. And then go through the freedoms and the issues that also comprise the concerns and the motivations that bring us out today, like our founding fathers. Number one, on the issue of energy, we know that to compete in this global economy, we need access to reasonably priced energy. An administration that is refusing to drill for petroleum, that is refusing to develop nuclear energy, that is refusing to develop natural gas, and now is taxing those who use the energy that they dictate cannot long compete in the global environment. That's an issue. Number two, healthcare. They talk about it as a right, and in a sense, it's a right that we afford onto ourselves, and it is afforded you. This legislation, however, that they are putting in forth, Mr. Obama says they're not going to get between you and their doctor. By the time they get done redefining the reimbursement rates for your doctor may not be in business. By the time they put in place their public coverage plan, no private payer, no private insurance company will be able to compete with the government. So when they say, if you like your plan, you can keep it, that's fine as rhetoric. The reality is your plan may not be there. And I think that gets to the heart of what's really our concerns with this administration, And you can go through it. Maybe one of the most outrageous acts. We don't stand here as Americans, say, accusing this president of not being constitutionally eligible for the office he holds. But let me ask the question, why are hundreds of thousands of dollars being spent in defense of protective and privacy motions in federal courts around this nation to keep from the American people the documents related to his place of birth. Mr. Obama, release those documents! Release those documents! That issue, and we afford him every benefit of the doubt, as we would afford any American. Those documents need to be released to the American people. The game is up. Mr. Obama, release the documents. Put this issue to rest. It is a simple act. He was born in a hospital in Honolulu. Release those hospital records. And then we can move forward. Let me close with some comments about one thing that I don't think received quite enough attention in the Tea Party movement, but I know it's one that all of you consider important, and that is the issue of the United States' role in the world. All of us have watched as the brave Iranian people have stood against this dictator in Tehran. We stand with those people, not with this tyrannical government. And at a moment when this government and this country face a real significant, serious threat in the deployment and in the development and deployment of nuclear weapons in Pyongyang, in Tehran, this administration is cutting missile defense. Now is the time to increase the defense in this nation, not to reduce it. And the final point is this. We draw, since World War II, reluctantly, the United States has found itself as really the sole remaining force of freedom in the world. Yeah. We were drawn into that reluctantly, really, in World War II, but the world's been a better place for it. Throughout the Cold War, one of our great heroes, Ronald Reagan, did not accommodate tyranny. He led its defeat. And it is one of the great episodes in American history that will forever stand that the United States did not accommodate tyranny on its watch. It defeated communism. When we were attacked on September 11th, 2001, that war and threat on American liberty was renewed. Today, the United States needs to realize it is the sole beacon of defense on freedom. We need to hold the ground on our role in the world and defend American freedom. And that message needs to go forward, and it needs to be part of this Tea Party movement. Let me close with this. I respect and admire every American who's come out today, okay? The thousands here and the thousands that join us across the country. I know that our opponents will seek to divide this movement. They will seek to belittle this movement. They will seek to minimize and marginalize and discredit it. It's going to happen. As it happens, we need to realize that is the sign of our potency and of our effectiveness. We stand together in support of liberty and support of freedom. Not as Democrats, not as Republicans, we stand as Americans. And we, Mr. Obama, Congress of the United States, we will win this battle. Thank you.